Brexit is meant to allow the UK the freedom to make its own laws without institutions in Brussels superseding them, but a key figure in the EU once claimed that Britain would pay into the EU budget even if it left with no deal. Brexit trade talks appear to have stalled as the UK and the EU fail to reach a compromise on their respective demands on fisheries and regulatory alignment. But it was during the withdrawal talks that the then EU's budget commissioner, Gunther Oettinger, made a claim that angered many Brexiteers. He warned the UK that even if it left the EU with no agreement, it would still have to pay contributions to the EU budget until the end of 2020. Mr. Oettinger said, "In the 2020 draft budget, the UK is a full partner with all rights and obligations in terms of monies paid and monies received, and that is how we understand the law because the MFF multi-annual financial framework to the end of 2020 was agreed with the UK. If the British are not prepared to pay, we are sure we will get the money at a later stage, but not immediately." He said this in October 2019 and the threat was greeted with defiance from Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who said he would refuse to pay in the event of a no deal. Other Brexiteer MPs were infuriated by the idea of paying into the bloc even if the UK was no longer a member. Ian Duncan Smith told iNews Mr. Oettinger's claims were not correct, and added, "There was no agreement." There was also anger in Brussels, as Guy Verhofstadt launched a scathing attack on Mr. Johnson, branding him a traitor because of his Brexit plans. He said, "The real reason why this is all happening is very simple. It's a blame game. A blame game against everybody. A blame game against the Union, against Ireland, against Mrs. Merkel, against the British judiciary system, against Labour, against the Lib Dems, even against Mrs. May. The only one who is not being blamed is Mr. Johnson himself apparently, but all the rest are the source of our problems. All those who are not playing his game are traitors, or collaborators, or surrenderers. Well, in my opinion the real traitor is he or she who would risk bringing disaster upon his country, its economy, its citizens by pushing Britain out of the European Union."